Episode 84. The room was spacious, but it gave Han Li one impression, a single word: chaos. All sorts of odds and ends were scattered everywhere. Some were clothes, others were weapons like swords and sabers. However, judging by the spiritual energy fluctuations coming from them, these weapons are actually quite well-made magic tools. Besides these items, there were also some daily tools like shovels and hammers in the room. And they too were brimming with spiritual chi, having been refined into something akin to magic tools. It was a real eye-opener for Han Li. He just wondered what kind of magical effects these tools might have when put to use. In the very center of the room stood a square 8 immortals table. Behind it, facing the door, sat a gray-robed old man with unkempt hair. The old man paid no attention to Han Li and his companion entering the room, focusing intently on carving a palm-sized piece of yellow wood with a small, gleaming golden knife. Seeing this, Uncle Wang frowned slightly, but his expression quickly returned to normal. He didn't disturb the old man's work. Instead, he pulled a chair from a corner of the room and sat down opposite the elder, waiting quietly for him to finish the carving. Seeing this, Han Li blinked, then wordlessly took his place behind Uncle Wang, wisely waiting along with him. The gray-robed elder's hands moved in a blur, wood shavings cascading from between his fingers. In just the time it took to drink a cup of tea, a lifelike little monkey appeared in his palm.
Well, junior brother Lin, your carving skills have improved quite a bit since I last saw you.
Oh, it's nothing. Just passing the time, that's all. So, what brings you to my humble abode, senior brother Wang?
The old man in gray said this with an air of indifference, but his eyes had already settled on Han Li, clearly having guessed the purpose of their visit.
It's nothing major. We're just here to collect the standard kit for new disciples and get this junior nephew Han outfitted.
Didn't all the new disciples from this Ascension Assembly already collect their things? How did we end up with another one? And his aptitude is simply atrocious. Has our sect leader Zhong's judgment really fallen so low that he'd recruit such mediocrity into the valley?
The gray-robed elder spoke without the slightest courtesy, laying into Han Li right to his face and describing him as utterly worthless. And from his tone, he didn't seem to hold the Zhong sect leader in particularly high regard either. Han Li heard this and was mortified. As for Uncle Master Wang, he could only shake his head with a bitter laugh. He knew that because of that incident from years ago, this junior brother Lin had always held a grudge against the current sect leader. But with Han Li, a junior, standing right there, how could he possibly take up his junior brother's line of conversation? So he just cleared his throat a few times and changed the subject.
Junior brother, this disciple Han has brought an ascension token to join our Yellow Maple Valley. He is being accepted as an exception, so the matter of his aptitude is not important. The key point is that our sect must honor its promise.
The Immortal Ascension token? So this kid has great fortune. He can still take a Foundation Establishment pill.
That's how it should be. But nephew Han made a deal with senior brother Yi and voluntarily gave up his Foundation Establishment pill.
He gave up the Foundation Establishment pill?
The old man was taken aback at first, but then, for some reason, his expression dimmed. After a moment of silence, he actually spoke, uttering words that took Han Li completely by surprise.
It's good that you can let go. The most important thing for a person is to know their own limits. To understand the art of compromise at such a young age, you're already far ahead of me.
The strange old man's expression was one of profound loneliness, and the cold gaze he had fixed on Han Li softened with a hint of warmth. But Han Li, upon hearing the old man's words, was left scratching his head, finding them utterly unconvincing.
What do you mean, knowing your place? That was me, forced by circumstance to bow my head and offer up the Foundation Establishment pill.
Who in their right mind would be willing to part with it otherwise?
Before Han Li could finish his silent complaint, the old man's face suddenly hardened, and he abruptly stood up. He made a few continuous, light grasping motions into the empty air around him with both hands, and an item suddenly appeared in his grasp. And then more and more items followed, The whole process left Han Li utterly dumbfounded.
One yellow silk robe, one green leaf magic tool, one set of sun-long refining tools, one flaming sun sword, one cold moon blade, and one tenfold storage pouch. The old man recited the items in his hand, then placed them on the table. They're all here. Take them, kid. As for you, senior brother Wang, you're a busy man. I won't keep you any longer. Don't expect me to see you out.
With that, the old man pulled another piece of wood from his robe and resumed his carving, paying the two of them no further mind. Seeing this, Uncle Wang sighed and said no more. He had Han Li pick up the items and they withdrew from the room. The moment the two of them stepped out of the stone hut, its door slammed shut behind them with a heavy clang. Uncle Wang glanced at the tightly shut door, gave a slight shake of his head, and prepared to lead Han Li away from this place.
Hey, you don't need to hold all that stuff in your arms. Just put it in your storage pouch.
As soon as Uncle Wang turned around, he saw Han Li standing there beside him, arms full of stuff and looking utterly dumbfounded. The silly sight made him chuckle, and he offered a helpful reminder. Han Li, belatedly taking the advice, set the armful of items down on the ground and fished out a black cloth pouch from the pile.
So this is the so-called tenfold storage pouch?
Han Li picked up the bag, eyeing its impossibly narrow opening, then the comparatively huge swords and other items. Well, for a moment he was at a loss, unsure how to cram them all inside.
Since it's your first time using a storage pouch, let me show you how it's done.
Uncle Wang was quite amiable. Seeing Han Li's confusion, he took the bag and said,
Just point the bag's opening at the item you want to store, channel a bit of spiritual power into the bag, lock onto the item, and it'll be sucked right in.
Uncle Wang demonstrated the process as he spoke. He turned the pouch upside down. A flash of white light shimmered in his hand, and from the bag's mouth shot a plume of white radiance, enveloping all the items on the ground. Those objects immediately began to shrink rapidly within the white light. Once they had diminished to a certain size, they were sucked right into the pouch. Han Li watched from the side.
The method for retrieving items is the same. You just need to lock onto the item you want with your spiritual power first. Here, take it. However, there are a few taboos when using a storage pouch that you absolutely must remember.
Please go ahead, Uncle.
First, every storage pouch has a fixed capacity and a limit to how much it can shrink items. If you try to store something too large or cram in too many things, the pouch will fail and you won't be able to put anything else inside. Second, a storage pouch cannot hold living things. Any living creature placed inside will die without fail. And as for this final point, you must remember it above all else. Low-grade storage pouches can't be bound to an owner. Whoever gets their hands on your storage pouch can claim everything inside as their own. So never casually reveal your storage pouch in front of other cultivators. Keep it hidden and secure. Otherwise, you're just inviting a death sentence.
I will remember that, Uncle. Thank you.
Now that you've received your items, come with me to meet the disciples in charge of imparting techniques.
With that, Uncle Wang took Han Li into the air once more. This time, the flight was even shorter. In the blink of an eye, they touched down at the foot of a nearby mountain. Here, nestled against the mountain, stood a massive stone pavilion. The stone plaque at its entrance bore 3 golden characters, Transmission Pavilion. A steady stream of young disciples moved in and out, making the area quite lively. Uncle Wang didn't say a word this time, leading the way inside, with Han Li following close behind. Some of the disciples clearly recognized this Uncle Wang and kept bowing and offering their greetings. Uncle Wang smiled and nodded in return. It seemed he was quite popular in Yellow Maple Valley. Once inside the stone building, Han Li was surprised to discover that the rear section of the transmission hall extended deep into the mountain's belly. The interior was vast, and right at the entrance, rows of stone doors stood side by side. Disciples were constantly streaming in and out through these doors. Just as Han Li was about to take a closer look, Uncle Wang pushed open the third door on the right and walked straight in. This left Han Li hesitating, unsure if he should follow immediately.
Come in.
Uncle Wang didn't keep Han Li waiting long. In just a short while, he reappeared at the doorway and beckoned Han Li inside. Inside, the room wasn't crowded. A single disciple in his 30s, dressed in blue-green robes, stood respectfully beside Uncle Wang. When Han Li entered, the man gave him a friendly smile.
This is Wu Feng, who specializes in the foundational techniques for new disciples. If you have any questions about your cultivation method in the future, you can come to him for guidance. When it comes to mastering the basic techniques, Wu Feng ranks easily within the top 10 of the junior generation.
I'll be relying on your guidance from now on, Senior Brother Wu.
Han Li understood clearly that this man would be his cultivation master for the foreseeable future. He couldn't afford to show the slightest disrespect.
You flatter me, Uncle Wang. I only have a superficial grasp of low-level techniques. I can just discuss and explore them together with Junior Brother Han.
Nephew Wu, I know exactly how skilled you are with your cultivation. No need to be so modest. I'll leave the matter of this nephew Han's cultivation to you. I'm just here to introduce the two of you. I still need to take him around to meet a few others, so we won't linger here any longer.
Uncle Wang was a man of action. With those words, he and Han Li left the room, escorted out by Senior Brother Wu. Over the next while, this Uncle Wang dutifully took Han Li to several other necessary locations, introducing him to a few more duty disciples and explaining some of the daily rules and routines. Finally, he brought Han Li back to the cluster of stone huts where the gray-robed elder resided, told him to pick any stone room he liked for his dwelling, and then left him there alone. Han Li stood before the stone hut he had chosen, surveying the crude dwelling with a bitter smile.
Any disciple who reaches the 10th layer of the foundational technique can leave this place and move to a residence on Xuanqun Mountain. There, the disciples have much more freedom. Not only can they build their own dwellings anywhere on the mountain, but there are also no restrictions on the type or size of the house.
Although his cultivation hadn't yet reached the 10th layer, Han Li had no real intention of making this stone hut his permanent home. He gave a light chuckle, then pulled the green leaf magic tool for flight from his storage pouch. After channeling spiritual power into it, he tossed the tool into the air and jumped on. At first, Han Li wasn't familiar with the thing, so his flight was wobbly, dipping and rising, extremely unsteady. But before long, he'd gotten the hang of it and could now fly around with his hands clasped behind his back, just as effortlessly as that Elder Wang. This magic tool, while easy to pick up and simple to operate, is clearly not very fast. It's only a bit quicker than an ordinary swift horse. No wonder every disciple in the valley can have one. Although the green leaf magic tool was a bit lacking, this was, after all, Han Li's first time flying through the air. So he spent a good half day playing around with it. Having finally gotten his fill of flying, Han Li finally urged his magic tool forward, speeding off toward his destination.